Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So today what I wanted to do is cover a couple of things. One is to talk about the upcoming event called Cosmic Egg Hunt. We'll talk about the cards that are available here, which I always do, and I am also going to talk about some of the strategies for different cards that you can use. Now, this is the second deck since I've started sort of keeping track of the relative strengths. For Commander that I'm going to be placing into the S tier. And the reason for that is because they've introduced this deck that is exactly the same as the Halloween deck, except it's a Fire Affinity. There is a slight difference in this particular deck compared to Halloween, and we will go over the differences there. But from a strength perspective, we all know already about the Halloween deck and the low intensity requirement and the fact that you can generate a full board full of power gems and that it can be used in any event makes it one of the most powerful decks to date, and it is available now for you to purchase. And the thing I wanted to cover next is since the last episode where I've announced I was going to go purely free to play, I started doing some additional, just kind of tinkering around. One of the other things I enjoy doing is data collecting and using that information to try and mine some data and get some information from that data itself. And so I created this chart here that talks about the cost that is required for each pack. So this is data that's readily available already, and there are a lot of different packs. So I thought it would be interesting to sort of see how much exactly it costs for you to get to purchase the entire tiers worth of packs. And so the event deck, I'll kind of give a quick description here. So if you can see here, it goes up to tier 7, step 4. If you were to go all the way up there, it's going to cost you 29,000 gems. And if you look at the free card, this is where sometimes they introduce the VIP pack where you can get the ultra rare at tier 5. Well, you can see that per tier it costs this many gems, and if you just select here at tier 6, the total number of gems you're going to be spending is 14,400. So that's in the gem currency, and how much does that mean in dollars? Well, here's a drop down here. I can change it to US dollars. This is based on the amount that you will get if you use $100 US to purchase gems. You get a total of 12,500 gems. And so based on that conversion, this is the amount that you're looking at. So to buy the entire event deck, it's going to cost you 233 US dollars. Free card at tier 6 will actually be $115. And then if you take a look at the Head Start pack that's also available right now, where you can basically buy 5 tiers worth and get a Head Start up to level 50 for your bosses, that's also going to run you $112. So each of these packs will cost you more than $100 to get over, basically to the top. So it is something that I wanted to make available for you for reference, just so you can sort of keep track and sort of get an idea of the relative pricing of the decks. Now, one of the other things I thought about is, for me, since thinking about going to free to play, is I can actually convert the number of gems I save into dollars saved. So one of the things that I find joy in as well is thinking that if I can just spend only the gems I've earned, the more I can save, really it comes out to a lot of money saved as well. So it's an interesting perspective for me anyways to look at this. I'll have the link to this graph in the video later so that you can take a look. So let's go and take a look at the cards themselves now. So you can literally see they've advertised it as the fire version of the fan favorite Halloween deck. So I'm not really going to be really need to go over it too much because everything about it is exactly the same as you know it. This is Lepora. I'm going to use a 6-card version. It's basically the witch. You can see here it attacks for 2,000%, but increases the intensity by 10. It is a technological unit, so that's very different. And as a free card, it doesn't really help any except for the deck itself, so it's unfortunate for anybody who's not going to be purchasing out the deck. And then for the event card, which is Flamefoot O'Hare, this is where it's a little different. So this is the fire version of Frankenstein. But if you take a look, 2 things are different. Number 1, its leader skill. It boosts the health and damage for at 400% for guild versus guild. Right, so it's a little different there. And the second thing is the battle skill. It attacks for 500% attack plus 10,000 for every 5 stacks. This is literally twice the amount of damage that compared to Frankenstein. So they've boosted up the overall damage for the nuke damage of this card. Everything else is the same. If you take a look, a counter skill is Dispel's Judgment, so that's what the guild boss is going to be running. And then taking a look at Stellar Rabbit, at 5 stars, it will create the Power Gem 1 and 1 additional for every 20 stacks of intensity. At 6 stars, it will drop down to 10. Okay, and then the ultra rare card, this is the equivalent of the Vascor of the Mummy deck. There's a couple of things about this card. At 6 stars, it will create 1 Power Gem, 1 plus additional 1 for every 8 stacks of intensity. So this is the lowest intensity requirement in the game. These are the 2 decks that have the lowest intensity requirement. And it also has a passive where it increases the drop rate of fire gems for the first 3 turns. Exactly the same as Vascor for the earth gems. So these are the deck, and as you can see, I only have a little over 2,000 gems, so I'm not going to be purchasing the decks here. Although I do think that if I could get Flamefoot O'Hare as a free card, that wouldn't be a bad card because of the nuke capabilities that it has. And if I were to spend gems, I would be buying the Relic. I don't know what the Relic is going to be like, but that is where I would always want to make sure that I invest in. Relics are always useful, especially since this will boost technological units. It can help me with my card. I don't have it here, but it can help me with my Astral Martyr. And if we go back now, let's take a look at the other cards that you can possibly get, because I think it's important to talk about these cards as well, especially if you're free to play. Juggernaut was a warden that was available a while ago. I can't remember the exact boss event anymore, but you can see that the battle skill for this card, I want to make sure I'm very clear here. It says at 5 stars, it destroys half of all gems on the board, and at 6 stars, it'll destroy all gems. This is not the same as a Night Sun though, because it does not keep the fire gems, so this is not very useful as a card to use. I don't like it, so I wouldn't use it. Now, Giru is a older version of a sort of the nuke card. If you take a look at the battle skill, it will attack for 750%, and then depending on the number of gems there's at 5 stars, if there's 10 or more, it'll attack again for 1500. And if you have Dragon Fury active, it'll actually triple that instead. And so it does have a dependency on another card within that deck. And I can't remember if it was Nusku or another card, but it is sort of an older version of the nuke card, but because it's not intensity dependent, it doesn't go any more beyond that. So it is a nuke card and it can be useful. So I think that would be okay if you don't have another card to use. Yanaka has a couple of bonuses. So she does deal additional damage to the Spider Queen, which is one of the which is actually one of your solo bosses. And she is a gem spawner, so that's always nice to have. At 5 stars, creates 3 to 5 fire gems, and at 6 stars, will create 4 to 6 fire gems. And along with Yanaka, there's also something if you were around for this event, don't forget that we also had this relic that was introduced, which is called the Queen's Earrings. If you have this, it might be useful for you to equip because it does give you a bonus 20% more damage to the Spider Queen, and it also stacks with Yanaka. So keep in mind that Spider Queen is your boss. Using this relic allows you to boost your female heroes, including the current hero, which is Lapora or the Lunamorph. Although honestly, if you're running the full deck with Mistress Lunamorph, you're not going to need that relic to boost your damage. You already are going to be dealing a ton of damage there. So that's basically the deck here. Now, I would use Yanaka. If I had her, I would use her in a deck. The cards I definitely would want to pair her up with would be Domi. Now, the next thing I wanted to do is something a little different. And so there was a request I received offline from somebody who is on my friends list. Who is, let me just take a quick look here on my friends list. The friend's name is Almighty Zeus. So I'm going to take a look at, I took a look at his card and I built a deck based on what he had, and I'm going to make a recommendation and also a gameplay on how this works. So this actually works really well because I would use 2 Domis, definitely, and pairing. So when you're running Domi deck, there's a couple of options you have, and I think having Gladia obviously is an awesome choice just because she is a nuke card. And then Cecilia and Blazing Glory both are power gem spawners, and so you want to definitely. This is a very good synergy deck, and this is what I would recommend you use. And let's go and play a match here. One of the things I'm going to do is I already set it up so that I have a relatively weak first card in my guild versus guild defender, so that I can just play around and try this out and see what it's like. Let's go ahead and battle, and I'm going to talk about a strategy here. I mean, with this deck, it's pretty simple. Really, all you want to do is you want to make sure that you match enough gems on turn 1. Now, if you have at least just one relic, you'll have a better chance of connecting all of your cards. It's just that because you're getting 4 gems on turn 1, plus they usually have 6 fire gems spawn. And you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 fire gems on the board here. The challenge is in actually matching them all. So let's go ahead and do this. I can actually do that. So I can match all 10, and I can actually create 2 power gems out of that deal, which is good. Now let's see how much damage I'm going to be taking here from this guy. Alright, so looks like I'll be able to take one more hit here, and this is the part where I'll say, alright, with Domi, what you want to do is you want to increase the intensity as much as possible. I'm just going to let it run one more time, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. And so the thing with Blazing Glories, it depends on the number of gens on board. So if there are 8 or more, then it doubles the effect. And if you have less than 100% health, then Cecilia the Power also gives you 2 power gems. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I use Gladia. And you can see how powerful she is with just a couple of turns later, running with only one relic. Right? And now on the second turn, Domi activates and gives me more more gems to use, and so this is where I will most likely lose because I have a, let's see, ooh, I did not expect that I'll be able to take out my own defender with that deck, so let's see how far we can get then. And this is with Jessica, so I think I should be able to take it out with my Gladia. Close to it, and so then all I need to do then is to do this, and I should deal just enough damage to take her out, barely, and then now everything is available again. I'm going to run Domi. Let's see if we can actually take out all of my defenders, which is going to be pretty sad because I was hoping it would be a little bit stronger than that. So it's a good, good measure for what kind of defenders I need to boost up here. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it's not going to be a problem for me to go through this. And so I just kind of show you how you can take out my defenders using this deck. But the thing is, I was able to survive the first turn with a really weak first character, and that's most likely the reason why. And then, so let's go ahead and see here. Now I don't have the power gems to play with, but I do have enough gems. Hopefully that is going to be able to take it out. And looks like, all right, well, 4 out of 5. That's not bad for this. And so that's how I would play the deck, and I think using that deck is actually going to be a. Let me just make sure I change this out so I don't forget. Swap out, not power up. Swap to there you go. And so that would be the strategy I would employ if I were you. So that's my recommendation. And there are other versions of this deck that I would also go with. Obviously, I would want to have more relics. But another one that I would actually put in here as well, would be, a version of either, if you didn't have Gladia, for example, you could put in Idalia, or you could put in Vanguard Contessa. Both are warriors as well. You can even put in a third Domi if you have one. So it's really versatile. So I like this card. I wanted to feature him more, and I think that it just worked out that I took a look at your cards, and that's what you had. So this is my recommendation. Hope this works out for you, and hopefully this helps for anyone watching if you're looking for a fire deck that you can build. Now, my recommendation here is, even though this is a commander event, you don't have to always use pure commander cards. Using a fire deck that is Slayer deck can work as well. And if you have a couple of commander cards put in there, that would help too. It's more important to have the boost and the synergy of the cards that you're running. And of course, if you do have this deck, the Thrall deck, it will work against any commander scenario. So I would also run with this as well. So that's all for today's video. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any recommendations, suggestions, feedback, I'm always glad to hear it. If you like this format, if you would like for me to take a look at your cards and give you some of my personal opinions on how I might build a deck, feel free to let me know, and I will talk about that the next time. So anyways, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Take care.